Just to reiterate some things that Jeff covered last week, there are 2 federal regulations that require us to do certain things for transition services for students with disabilities. So I'd just like to review that quickly. In IDEA, I know that we have to provide a free and appropriate public education, but some people are not aware that, we also have to provide further education opportunities and for employment, independent living. And then also WIOA states that we have to provide in the 5 areas: job exploration, work-based learning, post-secondary education counseling, independent living, social skills, and self-advocacy. And this is why the Pathways materials and website was developed, was to be in compliant with those 2 federal mandates. All the materials that are used here will keep you in compliant. As you can see here, this is our website. It's pathwayswestvirginia.org. When you log on to this, if you scroll down here, this is just a little informational video that you can use. It's about 4 to 5 minutes long. If you would like to just show somebody just a brief overview of that. Also, as we scroll down, if you'll notice these 4 colors here, everything throughout our Pathways website and materials it has a color code theme. Anything that's in green will be career exploration, and then so forth. First of all, we have all the drop-down menus across the top, of course, students, parents, providers. I want to go to media and just show you our examples of our print materials. And these are available for you to download if you would like. The first here is the Transition Guide for Students with Disabilities and Their Parents. This basically is like a student workbook that goes hand in hand with our website. You can make copies from this if you want a paper pencil activity. The second one is a larger spiral bound notebook, and it's sample lessons for students after high school with disabilities. These are have all the 5 pre-ETS lessons, and within those lessons, there are 5 to 6 individual lessons for each pre-ETS focus area. The lessons are entitled they start with they have the objective, they have the materials that you may need, they have any modifications that you may need to use, and they're also aligned with the career and college readiness standards. So everything is there for you for about a 6-week period that you could use this Pathways materials. The second here, work exploration and the frequently asked questions. Our buddy Mitch went over that previously in last week's, so we'll just cruise through that. The second part here is this is just a brochure from the West Virginia Department of Education with the DRS. We also here have the slide guide, and I'd like to just briefly show you this. It tells you some transition activities. As you scroll down, as this is a slide guide, as you pull that out, it gives you some information that you might be able to use as like at a middle school level, then 9th and 10th grade level, of course 11th and 12th, and then post-secondary. It's all nicely in one thing. And if you have a QR reader on your phone or your iPad or something, if you scroll over that, then you can have some other resources. And then this is just a nice place for you to have notes. If you would give these to your students in middle school level, then they could write down here and keep a record throughout their high school experience of different opportunities that they've had for job exploration and so forth on all those pre-ETS services. We also provide this transition service planner, and I think Mitch went over that last week also. So that's just some of the printed materials that we have. What I like to do during my presentation is I like to go through it as if I was a student and you were assigned to me some things. So the first thing we're going to go through is this career planning drop-down menu. Before beginning, I want you to notice this. It's a B with the headphones on. If you click that, and then you click the question mark, these are all the accommodations that we provide for the website. So it has like text to speech. It also has a feature where you can enlarge the text for those folks that may be visually impaired. It even converts some things into other spoken translations in other languages. So it's very helpful, and anything that's in text throughout our website, you can use these. Throughout our website, the right is for resources and the left is basically our main topics. So this first part here that you see, we call this the me, not me. These are about 56 slides, and all you do is you look at a picture and it gives you an assessment. It's an interest inventory. So to save time, I've already began this. Creative expression, that's not me. I'm not an artist at all. Do like things about that. I'm a geek with data analysis. Me, that's me. Precision, no, you don't want me to perform anything. So once you complete that 56 me, not me pictures, then it will give you your personality blend. So this tells me that, you know, I'm a mentor and an action taker. Gives you a little brief definition of what your personality blend is. As you scroll down, it also will say, you know, that you match mentor like 87%, action taker 79%. Now, once you take the me, not me, it links you straight to the ONET. It also tells you here about your complements or your conflicts. I know a lot of times our students go to a job interview and they may be able to tell you what their strengths are, but you know, their weaknesses, they have a little trouble with coming up with something with that. So this is a great thing for you to do to print this and include that maybe in their portfolio so that they can have that. It's also a great discussion to use with parent conferences. Once you've completed that, you can view your career matches. And as I said, that links it to ONET. So this will list all of the possible occupations that might interest me according to my personality blend. If you look at the left-hand side, these is educational level. So you can filter these occupations by education level. So say you have someone in your class that maybe just doesn't want to do any extra thing after high school. So they just want a high school diploma. So we can unfilter these three things. And as you see, the pictures change and the occupations. So just for an example, we'll pick a home health aide. If you look at the home health aide, of course, it gives you a description of what that might be, what that occupation entitles. It tells you the salary mean, which is $23,006. Now that's based on a national average. So if you would want to go in locally, you can put in your state or your city and it'll calculate you the mean for that. Tells you about the employment growth, which is 38.1%, which is a very bright future for that occupation with our aging society members. Home health care workers are going to be in demand. As we continue to scroll down, this is another great thing that you can print and include in their portfolio. This shows the match rate of the characteristics that are required for that job as compared to the characteristics that are with my personality blend. Okay. What happened?
I don't know. The pathway's back up.
Got it. Okay, the next part on the left, this you can look for career matches just by a keyword. So you could start as early as elementary school with this. You know, maybe someone in 4th or 5th grade tells you they want to be a fireman, so you just put that in there. My niece wants to be a video gamer or a designer, so we've completed this. Again, it'll give them a list of things that would come under that keyword. If you go under designer, it tells you about, of course, what kind of things that a game designer would do. If you look at the color coordination, of course, it's the knowledge, skills, and abilities, the personality, and even some of the technology they may use. So this could be a good lesson plan where these students that are interested in that could look up some of this technology, possibly do a report or something. I like the part up here on the skills part where it says listening to others and not interrupting and asking good questions. You know, we haven't been telling you that your whole educational career. It's really something that the job force also wants you to do too. As you continue to scroll down, it tells you what the education is. You know, it might require a bachelor's degree or an associate degree. It gives you the average salary. And again, you can filter that by the zip code or the state. The next section of the website is, this is by career clusters. In West Virginia, there are 16 career clusters that our students can choose from to complete their education for their high school diploma. There's 21 altogether here, and West Virginia requires, there were 16 of them that they can choose from. When I taught at the high school level, my boys wanted to be carpenters. So if we go under construction, again, you get the same format with lists of occupations under construction. So if we choose carpenters, again, as you'll see, it's the same format. It tells you a little bit about what a carpenter may do. It has the knowledge, skills, abilities, personality, and technology. And then the education and job outlook and the average salaries and things. So both of those areas will get you back to the same thing. The next section on the left, this is just another interest inventory. This one requires more reading than the Me, Not Me, which is only pictures. But a lot of people think that the Me, Not Me is too simplistic for some of our students just because it's pictures only. But we've had students, and I've also taken it myself, to take both of these, and they really are comparable. The results are almost the same. The next part is, I'm interested in attending school. This just gives us a list of, you want little preparation or maybe extensive preparation. There are 5 zones that you can go under. And again, you can filter this. So you may have someone that maybe just after graduation wants to do a certificate program or something. So that's just some preparation. Again, we're back to this same format. Some of the folks I had in elementary school wanted to be animal caretakers. So when we click that, it tells us a little bit about the animals caretaking and what you would do as an animal caretaker. And again, we still have this common color theme and the skills and knowledge that they would need for that occupation as well. You also may have some students who want to join the military. So what I like about this section of our website is this is maintained and developed by active and retired military personnel. We apologize, our bandwidth is a little slow here today. As that is coming on, I'll tell you a little bit about that. As I said before, it's developed and updated by military personnel. So it's not just like what a recruiter is telling some of your students. It is actual people who've been there and done that. So under the ways to serve, of course, there is a direct link to all the branches of the military. If you go under joint eligibility, it gives you an overview. Under the ASVAB test, it will give you sample ASVAB questions so that the students can, kind of get an idea of what that's going to require when they take that test. Under the careers, it'll tell some career stories. You'll have some active military personnel telling some stories. Education, it talks about the GI Bill. It talks about military schools. Under the drop-down military life, it'll tell you about, on-base housing and off-base housing and some kind of discounts and perks you may receive as a military. And then it also has a section just specifically for parents of students.
Will you back up and show how you got to the military page, please?
Sure. When you go back to, when we're on our main page, if you look on the left-hand side, it says military careers. And you just click on browse and it'll take you to this here. So we have those drop-down menus. And if you scroll further down, there are some videos here. And these are, as I said before, actual military personnel who talk about their careers. They talk about living on base. They talk about the salary and things like that. And again, as a reminder, all the videos have a text below that, and you can use that accommodations icon for that to be read or translated for folks. Also on our page here, we call this our, it's like work exploration. With the pandemic, this has been very helpful for students to be able to go under this and get some real life experience because they haven't been able to go out into their communities. And as a small rural county where I'm from, we had limited CTE courses. So this is a way for our students to possibly see what's available on all those career clusters that may not be available in their CTE program. So if we continue our theme of carpenters and we go under construction and you choose carpenters, there's a video that comes here. It's like a job shadowing. This video is it's a minute and 27 seconds. You have carpenters that are talking and they talk about the tools that they use. They do measurements. They actually are sawing and erecting a wall to show the kids some of the things that they may do. So if you didn't have a carpentry class within your high school or your CTE program, this would be a great way for your students to see what that would entail. On the right-hand side is resources. We have a resume builder too that's building here. We have a lot of districts that they have used this in their communities. This website can not only be used by students with disabilities, but it can be used with all students and anyone. It's a free website. So anyone in your community, yourself, anyone, your family, friends could use this. And under the resume builder, you just select a type of template that you want. As a reminder, I need to tell you, though, that once you complete this, you have to download that because it doesn't save on its own. So you have to download that to a device. But it's just a template that just goes, the name, the location, phone number. It tells you about work experience. I know some of our students, they don't realize that, work experience doesn't always mean something with a full-time job. It could be, you've mown lawns for people. Maybe you're a babysitter, just different things like that. So they need to put those things in their work experience for their resume. And then under skills, some students may say they don't have any skills. Well, maybe they have a CTE program that they've gotten a certification for, or, maybe they've been in the band for 4 years or a member of one of the athletic teams. So that's something that you could put on here. Same thing with education. For their school, they put their high school. Their degree or field of study could be whatever career cluster or whatever that they're going to pursue post-secondary. And then, of course, then you download that, and then it can be saved for the student portfolio, or it can be downloaded and they can keep that for the future. We also, on the right, we have these jobs from Indeed, and this pings off of your local internet location. So ours here may say Bell. Where you're at, there may be saying something about South Carolina. So this would be another lesson opportunity for your students. You could have them to choose one of these jobs and write a cover letter applying for that job, maybe do some research on the company and so forth. But you also can go down here under the where and filter those jobs by city or state or a zip code. So this could be used, again, these could be used in your community too. We've had several districts that have said that they've had people in the community to come in and they've helped them with cover letters and to apply for jobs. That's basically all I have on the career planning section. Does anyone have any questions on that section?
I've been answering.
Okay. One thing I wanted to show you too, across the top here, we are on all social media, so they can get to our website through some of these areas also. We'll go back under students, and this time we'll go under education and planning. Remember, right is resource, and then the left-hand side is basically what we call our main topics. If we go to the college scorecard, this can give you any college in West Virginia or South Carolina or anywhere you'd like to go. We normally put the Mountaineers on here, but today we'll start with those Gamecocks for you. So if we put South Carolina, I noticed when I was looking at this that it comes up with several campuses. So we're just going to pick the one at Aiken. So if we look at the University of South Carolina, it'll tell you that it's a, it's a four-year college, it's public, it's in a suburban area, and it's medium. It's nice for our students to see this on a map so that they can judge how far that is from home. If, if they want to commute, it may not be something that they would do, but it also might be, something that they may not even know where Aiken, South Carolina is. So as we continue to scroll down, it tells you about the graduation rate. It can tell you the fields of study that are offered there. Gives you some information about the annual cost. I like this section with the test scores and acceptance. It gives them an overview of, the acceptance rate, but this is the average SAT and ACT scores that are usually required for them to be accepted there. They need to know, again, that we're not just trying to preach to them that they need to do well on standardized tests, that this is part of some of the requirements to be accepted in some of the colleges. And if even if you don't have this score, you may be accepted, but you may be required to take some remedial classes or something in order to continue your education there. The next piece, this is something new to our website, and it's great for since the pandemic, when folks can't go out and go on tours for colleges. So if we click there, these are the colleges in West Virginia that have sent us in different videos and things. It's virtual. And again, being from a small rural area, we could afford to budget for a couple college tours for our students, but not all. So this is a great way for them to see what's offered out there. They're about 4 to 5 minutes long, some of them, and you'll have students that talk about campus life. They talk about, what's available in the community. They talk about what, what accessibility is available there. But if we scroll to the bottom, there's also, here is campus tours. You can also visit others. So if we put the university, and we go back to the Aiken, and we'll view those details. So it gives them information about, the degrees that are offered there, how much the tuition expense is. There is a virtual map, the admission requirements, talks a little bit about sports. And you can also, there's a YouTube video that you can, it'll send you to a YouTube video.
Right here, video.
The video at the top. That's about 1.5 minutes long, but it does talk about the campus. It has a lot on it with sports more than anything else. But I wanted to show you that not only can you access just the colleges in West Virginia, you can also access other colleges throughout the nation. The next section to the left is, this just lists all of the options after high school in West Virginia. This would be anything from a certificate program to a 2-year program, 4-year program. So you can filter again. Maybe someone just wants to go to school just briefly, just to get a certificate or something after high school. So once you click that, of course, you can see where it filters those into just that category. And if you look here at the International Beauty School, it tells them a location. It's in Martinsburg. It gives them a direct link to the website, and there's a tuition calculator. And also there's information that they can contact somebody if they need accessibility services, which would be great for them for self-advocacy. You have some students that may not want to go to any type of schooling, but through their CTE classes, they've learned that, maybe they can apply for an apprenticeship. So we have West Virginia apprenticeships. This gives them an overview of what an apprenticeship program is. We also can click here and it gives us a map of West Virginia, and you can just choose a county, and we're in Kanawha County today. Shows all the things that are available for folks that live in Kanawha County. So if we go back under the carpenters, or let's look at the printers. We'll stay with carpenters. There's one in Pittsburgh, but there's also one. There's one in Parkersburg. So it gives you the address, it gives you the coordinator there, and some phone numbers, of course, and emails where that you can reach out to Mr. Jeffers and ask him any questions that you may have. Gives you an overview of, what the KLM Carpenter Training Center, what it does. It gives you the minimum requirements. You have to have a high school diploma or an equivalency. It also tells them that as a part of the final selection, they not only have to, make an appointment and have a physical by a doctor, but they also have to pass a drug test. So again, we're not preaching to you about stay clean from drugs. It's a requirement to get into most fields of education and study. The next part on the left, this is to help out with some self-advocacy for these students. Johnny may know his whole life that he's he's ADHD and he knows he takes medication for it, but he really may not know a whole lot about that. So this gives some great resources where he and his parents can go on and they can look at this information and try to find, some answers to some of their questions. There's also a section for assistive technology that might help someone who has been diagnosed with ADHD. We have several directors in our state that use this website just to go under the assistive technology to try to find some pertinent information for something that their students may be able to use. And then we also have the support and advocacy. These are national and local websites that they can go and get further information. Next, we have the piggy bank here. Our students probably don't realize exactly how much college costs. They've lived with their parents, so they don't have room and board. Their education's been provided by the public school system. Transportation's been provided, books and supplies have been provided. So it's a big eye opener to some students to realize how expensive college really is. So this gives them a type of college at an average year tuition and fees. It talks about the types of aid. We have to make sure our students know that, they don't want to take out loans. They have to pay those back. So they definitely want to go for grants and for scholarships and apply for those. We have a direct link here to the free FAFSA form. We've had several districts that have used this for like an evening parent conference or a parent workshop where they can come in and they can assist them with that free application. On the right-hand side, there is a mobile app you can download. It's My Student Aid mobile app, and that helps students and their parents to explain that report when they finally get that back, because sometimes that can be confusing. One thing I want to show you here is the Smart Scholar. This is a national website for scholarships. There's $88 million available throughout the United States for scholarships. And now you can filter, some of them are for majors or ethnicity and sports and character. But if we go under browse scholarships, it'll come up with all the categories that offer that. And if we look at scholarships by residence, we can find one for South Carolina. So on the right-hand side, we go to that. There are 34 scholarships that are available for just residents of South Carolina. Just want to show you briefly the first one here. This is what we call a lottery scholarship. If you look at the competition effort level here, this is based on a scale of 1 to 5. The competition is high at 4, but the effort level is very low. So let me show you just a little bit about that. Now, there's nothing inappropriate that will pop up, but this is off of our website, so it does have some ads that will pop up. As I said before, this is a lottery. All you have to do is put in your name and email address and create a password. And every 3 months, they do a drawing for a $10,000 scholarship. And then monthly, they also do a drawing for 3 $1,000 scholarships. And the only thing you're doing is just putting your name in a hat, as to speak. If you look on the right-hand side, it tells you that you can start as early as 13 years of age or older to enter into this scholarship drawing or lottery. And so we have some 8th graders that you probably could have them to go ahead and sign up for this scholarship to be a part of that. One thing I found kind of it's a bonding thing for us is there's a scholarship here. This is the L. Phil and Alice J. Wicker Scholarship, and it's residents who live in West Virginia or South Carolina. So we have this in common also. So if we view the details there, it will tell you that it's one award of $500. You have a direct link to their scholarship website. It tells you that they don't mention a financial need. Some of those will tell you that, you have to show your W-2s or something like that, or, your last income tax, so that there has to be a financial need for you to qualify or to be eligible for this scholarship. And it has to be a college. You have to attend South Carolina or North Carolina, Virginia, or West Virginia. But it gives you the contact information here too, that if you had more questions that you could contact someone for this scholarship. Okay, we're back to our website. One thing I'd like to show you on the right-hand side is this is starting the conversation. A lot of times our students, the first time they've been really away from home is when they go to college. And so some of them suffer depression and things like that. So this is just a good website to have for them. The National Association of, Mental Health Issues, it will talk to them about that. The GED, of course, is the suicide prevention website. So it's got some great information for kids that are suffering from, mental health issues or, depression, suicidal thoughts. Again, as we scroll down, these are some of our partners at the bottom that you can contact. Ours is West Virginia, of course, but possibly you guys can, if you develop your website, you can just have stuff that's pertinent to South Carolina only. That's all I have on the educational planning component of the website. Does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, if not, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Betsy. Thank you for your time.
Okay, now we're going to go back under student. We're going to go down to independent living skills. And as we go down, this gcflearnfree.org was a great website because it had video game like activities. However, due to the fact that, what was it? Flash went away, they no longer have the game-like activities, but you can go in and, like a subway map, you can click for a tip sheet that gives you some ideas about how to ride the subway and what you need to do. We are hoping that they will upgrade and we will be able to continue with the game-like activities because they really were very engaging to the students. We're now going to go back on to workplace readiness and soft skills. Research has shown that the #1 reason young adults lose their jobs is because they cannot get along with their coworkers. So the workplace readiness and soft skills, these are great skills that you can reinforce in your classroom. We have this is a PDF about soft skills. Many of the districts in West Virginia begin compiling a transition notebook for the students that they are presented with upon graduation. And this would be something you could place in their notebooks, as well as soft skills to pay the bills. This is from the Department of Labor, and their activities on that website also. We're going to go back up to students, independent living skills, personal finances and money management. Education always gets dinged by John Q. Public, as well as state and federal legislators, about not providing enough information about teaching financial responsibility and money management. There are some resources here. Again, managing your health is the next item. The kids are used to mom and dad going to the doctor with them and filling out all of the forms that you have to fill out and sign. Again, in the transition notebooks, a lot of our districts are developing a form that the kids can take home to their parents, and they can fill it out together, that they can fold and keep in their purse or their billfolds. Benefits are huge. Many parents do not want their kiddos to become employed because they don't want them to lose their Social Security check or their medical card. This is our friend Jennifer Tenney, who works at WVU Centers for Excellence in Disabilities. She has extensive information and will meet with families on an individual basis and decide how much money the kiddo can make before they would lose their benefits. Then down here is also a link to WIPA, which also talks about work incentive planning and assistance. Again, at the bottom is always our partners and links for students, parents, employers, and the media. We're going to go back up to students, to independent living. As we scroll down, personal needs and community participation. A lot of the students really are quite shy, and they don't want to become involved in community activities. They just want to stay at home. And here are some links to different activities they could belong to that would get them out of the house. Then this is independent living and related activities. It is tons of resources, self-assessment, talks about going to college, being an advocate, financial literacy. The West Virginia State Treasurer has a lot of information on personal finances that would also be accessible to you all. Financial football and financial soccer are games that can be played about financial literacy, community involvement, personal responsibility and self-development, community mobility, and adaptations and ADA eligibility. This page really has tons of information that is very appropriate for the students. Again, right are the resources. We have our partners here, West Virginia Statewide Independent Living Council and Centers for Independent Living. That is a link for students who want to live away from mom and dad, but probably need a little more assistance and supervision. And that's a great place to go to find out information about that. Transitioning from foster care, here are resources for those kiddos. Down here, these are links that are on Pinterest under Pathways to the Future. And there are tons about budgeting, personal finances, don't get in trouble with the credit card. There are just lots and lots of resources down here that are different than what we have on the website. We're now going to go back up and go under students, and we're going to go to self-determination. A lot of our kids don't realize that upon graduation or the age of 21, whichever happens first, their IEP will go away. So this is a link to the difference between a Section 504 plan, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act, versus an IEP, which ends at 21. Section 504 plans really go on to adulthood. I worked with a lady at the State Department of Education who had horrible allergies. She went to personnel, got a Section 504 plan, and the department bought her an air purifier, and it was before cubicles. She then could work with her door closed. Then due to WIOA, the Division of Rehab Services can develop an individualized plan for employment for those students who are eligible for rehab services, and then those students who are potentially eligible. We just discovered that the potentially eligible needs to have paperwork completed by the Division of Rehab Services. So that's, you know, something else that WIOA did for us. On the right are resources. This is a guidance document about the IEP in Section 504. It's really what the differences are between the two, and it is downloadable. We're now going to go back to self-determination. You know, the kiddos need to also learn how to disclose their disability and when to disclose their disability. It's probably not important for the checkout clerk at Walmart to know you have a learning disability, but it might be pretty important for your boss to know that you have a learning disability. Here is some assistance about when and how to disclose your disability. Then down here is accommodations. You know, the federal government is great for using vocabulary like reasonable accommodations in ADA as well as IDEA, but they don't define what those reasonable accommodations are. So here is a listing from JAN, or the Job Accommodation Network, that tells accommodations for college or training programs or in school, accommodations in the workplace, accommodations for independent living. And here is another source that you could get more information. On the right, we have a searchable online accommodations resource that is put out by the Job Accommodations Network. Down below, we have the West Virginia Assistive Technology System. We're very fortunate in West Virginia that WVU Centers for Excellence in Disability has a pretty extensive loaning library for assistive technology devices. It is online. You can fill out the form online and it will be mailed to you, the assistive technology device. You can check it out for 1 month and then you must return it to the Centers for Excellence in Disability. We tell our teachers in IEP meetings, a lot of times parents want an assistive technology device for their kiddo because Johnny has it and I want Bobby to have it. And before you go to the expense of purchasing one, you should check it out to see if it is appropriate for Bobby. We're going to go back up to students, self-determination. As we go down, this is just a little video about how to teach self-advocacy and the importance of it. This is a great online site that talks about self-advocacy. What I like so much about it is it has folks with disabilities talking about self-advocacy, how to speak up, how to deal with Medicaid, abuse, work. And it's a very extensive listing. They even have folks from other countries on here. And I just think since it's one thing for teachers and adults, non-disabled folks, to talk to you about being your own self-advocate, but it's another thing to actually see folks with a disability who are talking to you about the importance of speaking up for yourself. They're also learning about self-advocacy, there's research, and there's a site to find self-advocacy groups in your area. I just thought that was a great, great website. Also, Pacer, it is a great site, and they talk about post-secondary accommodations and frequently asked questions. The Pacer Center has a great website packed full of information that is really useful to everybody. On the right, we have resources, and this is just about IDEA and the definitions of what a child with a disability is. Now we're going to go back to students and go down to work-based learning. WIOA has really brought work-based learning experience to the forefront. As Mitch and Jeff said last time, we focus in West Virginia on the Work Exploration Project, which is non-paid simulated work experience, where the kiddos go to a job site and they actually work beside a supervisor on a real job. Here are the different work-based experiences that there are available, and that is the source. These are just some videos about kiddos who are participating in a work exploration program. This is a video about one of our career centers in West Virginia. We go up to the right, apprenticeship.gov. Bev talked about West Virginia apprenticeships, but apprenticeship.gov has apprenticeship programs in every state. You know, as I say to the folks in West Virginia, many times parents wait until their student graduates before they move to a different state. So if the kiddo was in a career and tech ed program, wanted to have an apprenticeship, they could go here and find one in their new state and city. This is a link to all of the simulated workplaces in West Virginia. It is in alphabetical order. Well, they've changed that. Wow. This is brand new. We'll get off of that. Additionally, career and tech ed courses. This I think is very helpful because a lot of times kids want to, might want a different career tech ed program that their school does not have, and they can look by county at all of the ones that are available, perhaps in a county that's near to them that they could drive to. Again, here is a link to on-the-job training. And WIOA has brought this right to the forefront. Workforce West Virginia is where folks who have lost their job go to receive their unemployment benefits. They also have training programs. They have webinars and different series on how to complete a job application. They do job interview, role plays to really help you find a job. Now we're going to go over to parents. This in West Virginia, we have parent educator resource centers, and those are places that are run by a teacher of students with disabilities and a parent of a student with a disability, and they can help parents navigate the special ed process as well as help them problem solve with the district if the occasion arises. Here are additional family and community resources for West Virginia. Every state has a parent training and information center. West Virginia Birth to 3. The Cadre Continuum is a national organization, and they have email listservs that you can belong to, and they will send out emails to you about up and coming things in the area of special education. On the right, again, are resources, the IEP and Section 504 guidance document. Hand in Hand is a guidance document for West Virginia families that is normally for those folks who are just beginning in the special education process. Here's a college preparation checklist to keep families and students on track for attending college. And then this is, excuse me, a little brochure for parents that is downloadable. Additionally, there are webinars under parents, and this is they're regarding our 3 partners, West Virginia Division of Rehab Services, West Virginia Adult Education, and Workforce West Virginia. These are short informational videos. Providers and teachers. This website has a huge amount of information. What we developed was a teacher toolbox, and if you get lost, it's very easy to go to the teacher toolbox, and everything we have talked about are right here in the color-coded boxes. So it's easy access if you get lost. Additionally, there is a DRS toolbox, and this is for providers and teachers. These are just quick little videos talking about why it's important for the students to work. Again, here are technical assistance centers in West Virginia. We work with Intact. All of these have listservs that you can subscribe to. Intact sends out a lot of emails. On the right, we have, excuse me, DRS forms. These are specific to West Virginia. Post-secondary education training preparation toolkit, opening doors to post-secondary education, transition services planner, the slide guide, and the parent brochure. Then again, the Transition Coalition has online modules for teachers, guardians, and providers. And then here's some more resources, which we will go to in a moment. Here are our partners. We see them on every page. You just click and go straight to their website. Here's information for employers. In West Virginia, we have community rehab programs. They're what used to be called sheltered workshop, and we have a listing of them in alphabetical order and a map of where they are. Additionally, under employers, we talk about hiring folks with disabilities. There are 2 videos about students saying why it's important, what they have to offer. The Division of Rehabilitation Services can help these employers in many ways. Not only can they help them with the paperwork that needs to be completed, but they can also assist them with finding appropriate employees for the job, as well as having training for the job, having a job coach, and monitoring the new employees. There are also tax benefits to folks who hire folks with a disability. This is a link to the searchable online job accommodation resource, as well as the mobile accommodation solution. Here are 2 publications for small businesses that are downloadable as to how to employ folks with disabilities and why it's important. Okay, we're now going to go to resources. These are resources by different categories. Many of them we have already talked about. The one that is the one that we focus on is transportation, because without transportation, many students are unable to work upon graduation. The West Virginia Department of Transportation developed this transportation directory by county. We'll go to Kanawha since that's where we are. And we have a pretty extensive listing of transportation options. Here are the vehicles that are available that are ADA equipped. Again, we just have 5 pages with the contact information. And I'm sure South Carolina has a similar site where you could download for your districts. Another really important place is the West Virginia Division of Rehab of Motor Vehicles. This gives information about licenses and ID cards, a samples driver's test, the driver's licensing handbook. I think it's really important if the students are unable to get a driver's license for whatever reason, that they have a state-sponsored ID card. You really can't even go to a new doctor without proving you are who you say you are. So I think that's just really important. There's a nominal fee. I think in West Virginia, it's $10. And here are all the different licenses that we have in West Virginia. Now we're going to go back to resources. As you can see, assistive technology, communication, you know, we just have tons of them. And I'm sure you all have similar resources. It's really great that ours are all in one place. We're going to go to the media. Here there are videos about WIOA that talks about each of the requirements, pre-ETS, job exploration, post-secondary education, work-based learning, workplace readiness, and self-advocacy. These are great, quick little under 5-minute videos that sort of explain what the requirements of WIOA are. That has gone over the print materials. One thing Chris wanted me to show you are the sample lessons. As we go down here, these are lesson plans. It has the introduction, the goals, the understandings, the essential questions. Students will know, students will be able to, the tasks that they will have to complete, the learning plan. These are the West Virginia CCR standards that this addresses, the resource and materials. So, and all of these have been vetted by the West Virginia Department of Education and have all been accepted. So that, you know, it's a rather large document. So I think it would be best for you all just to kind of review it and then print off the pages as you need them. Here are some success stories that we talked about. This is a young man with autism who participated in the work exploration program at the Happy Days Cafe. And then upon graduation, they hired him. This is Elizabeth, and her work exploration site was a daycare center. She went on to go to the Career and Tech Ed Center to get a certification in childcare. And this is a success story about Adam. That is all we have on this website. However, I do want to go over some other websites with you all. The first one is West Virginia Help and Hope. This website was developed to address the horrible substance abuse problems we are having in West Virginia. It has where you can get help in West Virginia, links for teens and families, links for prescribers, connections for recovery. The one thing that I think is so fantastic is this medication disposal. They talk about this. You can go to these organizations and they will deliver these little pouches to you. And literally all you have to do is open up the pouch, dump your medication in there, whatever it may be, fill it with water, seal it, shake it a bit, and the medication becomes inert and is not usable to anyone. Then you may throw it away in your garbage. Other things on this, it talks about prevention, effective treatment, and recovery. It also talks about the signs of addiction. You know, many people feel all they have to do is stop taking it, when in fact, it is a brain disorder. And, you know, there are tons of side effects that you get from the medications, as well as horrible, horrible things happen when you're trying to withdraw. Another website that I want is Stigma Free West Virginia. This is again about addiction and stigmas regarding addiction. It talks about what a stigma is, how to get involved, and stories of recovery. This is Jan Rader. She is the fire chief of Huntington, West Virginia, where Marshall University is located. And they say that it's a Detroit pipeline. Folks come from Detroit, only stay in Huntington a couple of days, get rid of their drugs, and then hightail it out of there. Captain Rader talks about, on this TED Talk, talks about what all Huntington has done to try to alleviate those issues, as well as there was a movie with her and other community agencies on what they do to really stop folks from abusing substances. It talks about naloxone, West Virginia's emotional help. There are just tons of resources located on here, and I'm sure they would be the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They would be helpful to you in South Carolina as much as they are here in West Virginia. Then one website that I'm particularly proud of is the West Virginia Student Success Project. Many times when parents find out that they will be having a child with a disability, the doctors are really kind of Debbie Downers. They don't see the value of a life that is not perfect, and they tell the parents all the horrible things that can happen. So with this website, we have places for new parents where they can learn about different things about the success of folks with disabilities. We have parent networks that will assist them, as well as we have some success stories. Here are some resources that will help them, from school age to new and expectant parents. We have the West Virginia ABLE. I'm sure you have that in South Carolina. And then additionally, we have success stories. At the last training, you saw success stories on Tanner and David. The one I want to show you today is on Anna. It is new. It just was posted today. And I think it's a great story. Oh, why is it not?
Anna loves her friends. Anna is one of those students that if someone is upset, she's the first one over to that student to see if she's okay or he's okay. Tim and I have two daughters. Olivia is 21 years old and she's a junior in college right now. She's going to be teaching. She's an education major. And then our youngest daughter is Anna. Anna is 18 and she goes to Parkersburg South High School where she is a senior this year. Anna was born with Down syndrome. We learned when I was 4 months pregnant that Anna would have Down syndrome when she was born. And then a couple of weeks after that, we learned that she was going to be born with a complete AV canal defect in her heart. She had open heart surgery at 4 months old. And those health issues actually have forced us to be able to look for specialists and to be able to look outside of our local community for healthcare to address some of her more complex needs. We did have a couple of traumatic experiences, though, with physicians when Anna was younger who really wanted to focus on Down syndrome and really truly didn't want to hear what we had to say about the value that we felt her life had. And we believe that many of their treatment decisions really were guided by the fact that they didn't believe she had a quality of life. That's a very hard thing to say, but we know that that's a reality. Anna was raised with the same expectations that we had for her sister, understanding that we may have to modify or address some things that we didn't have to with her siblings or her cousins or other family members. It was our mindset that she would be raised in the community and be included as much as possible and doing what she wanted to do. And our expectations for her have always been extremely high. So the area that we did find a lot of concern was the education system. I have to say that, Anna has had phenomenal teachers. She has had phenomenal administrators and phenomenal support folks. But unfortunately, the reality is we've had some very, very hard years and some very, very hard experiences with teachers. Some teachers who refuse to do modifications and they refuse to do accommodations and they refuse to provide us with and provide Anna with what she told them she needed. Things like chunking tests or things like giving a meaningful study guide, something that should be so simple that would make her successful. We've heard phrases like, it's not fair to the other students who aren't getting that. So from an education system, that is definitely one of the areas that we have had some concerns. Sometimes it takes us as parents, to be the ones who have to educate the instructors on what is best for our children.
I go to Parkersburg South High School. I am a senior. I got a 4.0 on my last report card.
I think the biggest thing for Anna, as far as accommodations go, is that she needs to have things broken into smaller parts. So when Anna is given a very large task, if she's given small parts at a time to do, she does much better job. And sometimes it's preparing ahead of time, like for tests. If she has practice sheets that she can use to prepare, she does much better job and it makes her more confident. Not that she doesn't know the material, because she certainly does. It's the confidence that she needs by the repetition.
School helped me get into college because it helped me stay on task, helps me take tests, and helps me say thank you.
Anna has straight A's in my class. Math, if you give her a calculator, she's good to go.
Anna is a very active participant when we've been on remote learning. Anna has been on Teams. She's navigated Teams. She's navigated Schoology, which is where all of our assignments are now. She is not afraid to ask questions when we are on Teams, and to just, when someone gives a good answer, Anna's the first one to say, "Good job. I'm glad you did that. That was a good job." So she's doing wonderful.
I love school. My favorite subject is civics because I like to learn my history. My favorite thing to do in high school is to do clubs on Fridays. I do knitting, I do art, and I do travel. I do Study a Night Away. I help with that.
So when Anna first wanted to become involved or express the interest in being involved in Student United Way, I would love to sit here today and say, nope, I never had one moment of hesitation and we knew it was going to be great. But I'm going to be honest, I had moments of hesitation because I needed to make sure that she had the same fulfilling experience that everyone else in the group had. And I knew how to deliver it to this majority of the group, but I wasn't sure how to deliver that experience for Anna. So there's definitely a moment, I can't say it's a proud moment, but there's definitely a moment where it could have felt easier to not engage her than to find a way to engage her. I know there were accommodations we had to make, but sitting here today, they've now faded into such little minimal pieces that I can't even really tell you exactly what we had to do. But we had to understand what her needs were. But honestly, those things seemed overwhelming maybe in the beginning to make sure we were making good accommodations. But when we want to talk about accommodations today, it's kind of faded for me because they're really not that big of accommodations. It wasn't anything grand that we had to do.
I participate in 4-H. I did projects. I've shown animals.
Everybody in 4-H loves Anna. I don't think there's a single 4-H member or volunteer in Wood County that does not know Anna Smith. Anna has shown livestock.
I used to show sheep and swine and goats.
She has had a reserve champion swine and a grand champion lamb in the program. She does a lot of advocacy and a lot of service, not only through 4-H, but her church and through the Arc of the Mid-Ohio Valley. She's just very active. She's a caring young lady. She's absolutely one of the most outgoing people I know.
I advocate for myself by talking in my IEPs. I go to the Capitol to talk to legislators. I go to the Capitol to talk to legislators about do not cut the waiver list. I introduced the governor of West Virginia at rallies. Ladies and gentlemen, well, please welcome the 36th governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice. Yes.
And how about y'all saying hi to Anna? Didn't she do a good job? And she's just as beautiful as she can be too.
I want to go to college and get my degree in helping kids with disabilities because I think I should help them stand up for themselves and teach them how to advocate.
The advice that I would give to any young parent who has received a diagnosis or is in those early days of trying to, navigate systems and learn all about the diagnosis and their child, and then the resources out there would be to do just that. Educate yourself. I mean, find out what resources are available for the season of life that you're in at that moment. If you are in those younger days of infants and toddlers, that doesn't mean you have to learn about transition out of high school during those years. Educate yourself on what's important at that moment and what's important to that time frame of your child. You know, find the resources in the community. And if you don't know where to turn, then find an agency or a person who has walked the walk with some of the same situations and allow them to help guide you. You can never give up. You are your child's best advocate.
I want them to know about me by standing up for who I am and standing up for the rights of my community.
Okay, that is really all that we have. If you would like to ask any questions, Mitch and Jeff are here as well as Bev and I, and we would be happy to answer them. Also, Bev has put our contact information in the chat box. Okay, then I guess I will turn it back over to Mike.
Okay, thanks. And special thanks again goes to today's presenters, Bev Nichols and Betsy Peterson with the Transition Technical Assistance Center. The next task webinar on work-based learning will be on March 18th at 3 p.m. And that webinar will focus on career and technical education as it relates to work-based learning. You can find out more information about all upcoming webinars on either the Transition Alliance sc.org/events website or on our app, taskapp.org. Thank you for attending and have a great afternoon.